They call me a Ric Flair, 'cause woo, I make them panties drop. Because I never buy the right size. Welcome back to episode 142 of the Off and Beat podcast with Clint Nelson. Well, it's certainly Off and Beat with Clint Nelson podcast. You get the fucking gist. Just type in Clint Nelson. You'll find the fucking podcast. You know why? Because I'm the only Clint Nelson with a fucking podcast. I guess you could definitely say I'm one of one, which literally just means one. No matter if you multiply it, divide it. I guess if you add it, it's 2. But if you minus it, it's 0. And what's in between 0 and 2? 1. And 2 is better than 1. And boys like girls. And also girls like girls, because it's see-through. Girl, you're a lesbian. Girl, me too. And apparently Lil Baby likes to eat pussy. Okay, sorry. Anyways. Jeez, I always have to make it sexual. Well, I did open with the panties dropping. But yeah. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, follow the pod. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. What's see-through? Suck some titties. Because you know what? Titties don't discriminate. Titties are on every single individual on this earth. Unless, of course, you had surgery, remove some. Men and women, we all have nips. And they make me smile like cheese. Nips. Jesus. I feel like I've said that one before. But who cares? But yeah. Recording this at 4:22 a.m. on May 4th. And Wednesday, May 4th. So I guess you could say there's May come for that. Jesus. But yeah, you know, actually I was thinking, I forgot that earlier. I was like, holy shit. Thursday, May 5th is Cinco De Mayo. And I actually have the day off. So I'm kind of debating of who I want to share a $9 fucking thing of cheese dip with and wait 25 fucking minutes outside for. To be determined. This episode will probably be posted Saturday. I am going to post 3 this fucking week. I'm going to do it, Clint. Your pods aren't that good to not post a lot. But I disagree. But yeah. Cinco de Mayo. Obviously, it's one of those things that we as Americans have kind of just incorporated. Now, look, I've been explained the history before. I remember in school they actually one day they tried to quote unquote, you know, culture shock us. They try like, you know what? We're gonna teach you guys what Cinco de Mayo is, because you know you need to know why you go to these Mexican restaurants on this day and voluntarily wait 3 hours and make people work 18 times as hard as a regular busy day would be. And it's just a day that's normal, right? Like if you like establishments, you know, it's a business. You know, it's really, when you think about it, Cinco de Mayo, what we made in America is really like what Santa Claus is made for all these retail stores, for all this shopping. It is just made for business. And that's okay. Because you know what? It brings camaraderie. Even though the day is actually supposed to be like celebrating, you know, nothing like celebrating, you know, Hispanic heritage than making them work. The most busiest, most stressful day of the year for those restaurants. And you're like, yeah, we like you. We're here for you. We love you. But thank you for serving us white people. Because, look, but obviously, but, you know, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those holidays that's kind of waned a lot. Like, I feel like a lot of holidays have kind of waned a lot. I don't feel like Valentine's has like the same. It doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it's more if you're out of it. But even it seems like with the youth, it doesn't seem like Valentine's is really like this required mandate of a holiday. Like Valentine's Day, like typically Valentine's Day, you go out to, you know, every Italian restaurant, every fucking Cheesecake Factory, every Pia fucking Chang's, every semi above dine-in restaurant that someone can reasonably afford, but they can't really reasonably afford when you break it down. And they spend $80 on the significant other. You know, when most of them are just going to end within a couple weeks, because, you know, it's basically Valentine's is like the freshman 15. Like, you know, after 15 days, it's going to be over. after the puppy love. And there's actually research for Valentine's that people will typically have this higher innate need without even realizing it months and months before the start finding someone to be with, because a holiday like that sticks with your mind. It's like every time around like Christmas, people all of a sudden, I think it's like Christmas and Thanksgiving is the 2 days and New Year's, essentially the last 3 months of the year, is the day where the most bums get busted. All right, it just is what it is. Like there's like a dry 7 to 8 months, and there's this 3 and 4 month span. Through these peak days, people are getting it in. New Year's, it's because people are drunk, drugs, everything in between. Christmas, it's because everyone's home. Anytime there's mandated reasons that you have to be home, that you can't use work as an excuse because most places aren't open, it's like, fuck, literally. And here we are. And Christmas, you get that camaraderie, you get that community feeling. And if you're with someone and you don't have kids, you're like, it'd be nice a year from now to have a little fucker to share this with. And then you do just that. And you realize, man, Santa Claus is not coming to town. And neither are these child support payments. Because of Santa. It's like, I'm pretty sure all like people want like Santa. Just take care of my child support. I have child support forgiveness. It's called Kill Yourself. That's where the forgiveness is. Oh, geez, that's a dark one. But yeah, there's this thing about student loan forgiveness. I saw an article the other day. It's funny how this pod just naturally comes together, I saw this article the other day, and there's always been this constant debate of, because obviously the student loan forgiveness, it's starting to actually possibly be a real thing, but of course it's not just like every single fucking person that's ever went to school and hasn't paid off debt is going to get their debt replaced. It's more of if you do certain loans and if you've been out of it a certain amount of time, and I think you've had to at least pay a certain amount, you can't just like, hey, I'm going to ignore it for the next 4 years and hopefully they take care of it, because if it doesn't work, you just lost 4 years of your ever so precious life. But it's an interesting subject. Should any student loan be forgiven? Typically now it's like military, there's a checking list of, all right, we'll take care of which weird because military already gets free education. That's kind of part of the benefits of going to the military. But, even if you're like a veteran of some sort. But there's certain qualifications, main thing I want to stick to is, should student loans be forgiven? An argument could be made, yes. I don't think, obviously, economically, it wouldn't do anything better. All it would do is make individuals feel better and have one less thing to stress about in life. But I don't feel like if someone's student loans forgiveness, they're all of a sudden going to capitalize on that, and all of a sudden whatever they would have paid in student loans, probably now they could use to invest in something and all this shit. They probably weren't going to anyways. And typically if you want to make something happen, you'll find a way, even if the odds are against you. Because you know what? Even if you got loans, guess what they allow you to do? Take out more loans. You have student loans? It's okay. Take out this $200,000 mortgage. Just put $8,000 down. It will be fine. It's funny how, because, if they really give a fuck about your loans and shit, they really give a fuck about debt you incur. They'd be like, hey, once you reach a certain amount of debt, you can't take any more debt out. But no, that makes too much sense. And of course, how would the economy run? How would these businesses actually make fucking money? Oh, that's right. They fucking wouldn't. People make money based off the interest of the debt that you should have not been qualified to take out to begin with. But not the point here. The point is, should your student debt be forgiven? There's ranges amount of money should be forgiven. And as I was reading the article, it was an opinion piece. And it was very why student loans should be banned, why they should be all student loans should be forgiven but the reasoning was simply because it should have never happened in the first place. It's like, okay, well, if we're just going to go by that logic with everything, well, it shouldn't have happened in the first place. Yes, but it did. You know what? I don't want to keep talking about people having kids, but you know what? Most people shouldn't have kids, but it happens. All right? Most people shouldn't be able to afford an $18,000 car from CarMax, but it happens. You know, no one would own, 90% of people probably wouldn't own a whole lot of shit if it wasn't for a lot of these debts occurring. And, as much as I shit on loans and debts, without it, honestly, most people wouldn't have furniture. Most people wouldn't have cars. Most people, no one would have a fucking house if people were reasonable. Like, it's this crazy statistic where I think it's like, it's like above 80% of people, because I saw the study where it's like people who have bought a home within the last 20 years. And it's something that people that bought a home 20 years ago and today, one, it's like 75-80% don't even live in the house anymore. Actually, maybe no, it's a little bit lower, like 60 to 65% don't even live at the original house anymore. Within like 3 years, there was audits, there was this, there was that, a percentage of that, and basically at the end, 80 to 85% of those houses, no one ever paid off. So they're just standalone houses that the bank had to take care of, whoever they took the fucking loan out. And I guess when it comes to student loans, look, as someone who formerly went to college once upon a blue moon, and we should share one sometime, and I'll tip the cap to you. Okay, and I'll bring the blues out, and we can have some moon pies, baby. Jesus, moon pies, by the way. I if it wasn't for the name, I get the appeal. Like, you taste it, it's like a marshmallow moon. I get the texture. Here we go with the texture. But the moon is just one big cue ball with a weird dent in it. It's like if you get hit in the side of a head with a baseball. It looks like the moon just looks like that one area where it's just like a crease. It just kind of looks like, it looks like a car crash, but like a satellite crash. Like the aliens shit. And they just circumference like 10,000 square million miles of a fucking planet. It's like, shit. And they turn around. But it's a weird thing to me, because it cannot, it never makes sense to just act like something didn't happen. There is a bare responsibility for that you did take it. It's idiotic that they would allow a 17 or 18-year-old to incur that much debt. But at the same time, I bet that situation will teach you future things like, hey, just because you're offered money doesn't mean that when people offer you money, or when companies offer you plans and financial options and all this fucking shit, that they actually give a fuck about how it affects you in the long haul. And I do think there's a valuable lesson to learn of that. Now, I don't know who gives a fuck, because guess what? In most cases, you're going to have $20,000+ of debt to deal with. But I bet you it makes you hesitant to just buy a house loan. I bet you it makes you hesitant just to finance a car just because. I bet you it makes you think twice about shit. Because, as Drake, Rick Ross, and Lil Wayne would say, you only live twice. Jeez. Always making Drake references. Say it to my face. Hey, really, these companies, it's nothing but fake love to me. Because it's fake love. It's a definition of fake love. It is, I am going to give you all this currency that you don't deserve. I am giving you all this love that you've never had, and I'm taking advantage of your naivety. just to be like, hey, just so you know, all this wasn't just out of the goodness of my heart. It wasn't just all because I loved your smile. It wasn't because, man, your potential. It was your potential that caught my eye. No, because you know what? They know most of y'all don't have fucking any potential. The potential is literally whether you succeed at staying through the process of what the loan offers you. Literally, their potential is like, we know that we're the only reason why most of y'all have a potential to have potential. Think about that. But there is a self-accountability that has to be taking place where it's like, hey, you did take out that loan. You did decide to take this money to go to do whatever. And there was other options you could have chose, but you didn't. And what lesson does it teach economic society where if we just like act like shit didn't happen? What does that sound like? Oh, like now in history classes in schools that mandated curriculums, like they don't, like you go to Texas, like they don't want to teach critical race theory. And I'm not talking about, I don't really want to get in critical race theory, but you know, there are the things about which states will literally dictate how they want to teach history. Not just their state history, but U.S. history. Like, fine, you want to teach your state history a certain way, you know, to make your love story a whole lot better than it really is. Whatever. But you can't change U.S. history. There should be something like U.S. history is this national required curriculum where it has to be taught. This has to be taught this. Right? Because if history is all about facts, even though it's not all about facts, it is like you have to know the facts, but you have to be able to interpret of the reasons and why a lot of shit happens, right? But if you just pretend, if you just act like, hey, I know all this shit happened, but hey, can we just, it didn't happen. No, it did. All right? And that's when you have like curriculums in schools teaching the way they want to, teaching avoiding important parts of history because it's uncomfortable, such as certain aspects of like racism, slavery. You want to talk about the Dust Bowl, the Great Depression and shit like that, the Holocaust. There are things in history where once you open that can of worms, it is And I just don't think, like, look, it's shitty. It's shitty. Like, honestly, that number, the ongoing number where they talk about how much student debt, it just keeps going up trillions and all this shit. It honestly doesn't even matter at a certain point. It's never going to really get back down to even. And that's not really the point. Because here's the thing, like, once we as people realize we don't actually need a lot of these companies that provide these financial services. And when you learn how to make money without these services and these quote unquote brokers and these experts, quote unquote, you start to realize that, man, only if we had an education system that would tell us how shitty these people are. How shitty economic. It's almost like, what if a school taught you going through it before you have to make these decisions like, hey, don't take out a shitload of student debt. Don't do it. But somehow, I wonder why. Because, when you go to college, to a local community college or university, that school gets a little bit money when like, you had this many people graduate the previous year, enter into the fall semester to X university or X college. Guess what? Here's a lot of fucking money. And I was actually talking with a friend about a small, kind of like on a smaller scale, in that the reason why good schools stay good and bad schools stay bad is simply because once when good schools have good grades and good teachers and the kids are doing well, high grades and all that shit, and they get good grades in the SATs, ACT, which is really what school is for nowadays, SAT and ACT. When they get good grades on that and they get admitted to, big universities, colleges, they get paid. The school gets paid from the state funding. And the good schools, they keep putting the kids out because the incentive is like, hey, this school's doing something right. We're just going to keep worrying about these 10 schools in the state that actually churn out valuable members of society. And the rest of y'all, like, hey, try to be a rapper. Do a podcast. It'll work out for you. And that's why when people say most people just fall through the system, that's kind of what it means. If you don't go to one of these main schools that actually has the access and all that shit, and you don't find a way to get to university, you got to really find a different path. It's just at a certain point, you're just finding an uphill battle. And that's what people talk about when it. And that's why the good school stays good and the bad school stay bad. Because the bad school, like, the kids are going to get bad grades. There's no incentive. School sucks. Teachers suck. Everything about it just sucks. There's no incentive for kids to go to school. And it's typically in areas where it's like, it's typically private for not the best environment. So your environment sucks. The school sucks. The teachers suck. The parents or the teachers don't really have incentive to make you do better because it's like, what's the point? Because that's kind of like the reality of what's the fucking point. And it kind of just creates a cycle where the bad stay bad and the good stay good. Maybe there should be like a draft, like a draft, like in schools, like, hey, just have a draft of kids. Like, all right, all the best grades and shit. There's just a snake draft, like fantasy football. Like, all right, all you have to spread across these shitty schools. We have to see how smart you really are. I don't know. But yeah, Cinco de Mayo. I'm pretty sure Sharon Osbourne. Pretty sure she takes her maid out. For people that don't get it, I've made that reference like 3 or 4 times. Go look up Sharon Osbourne on The View. It's probably like a clip from a few years back where she made a reference about where they were talking about immigration and border, because I think it was when Trump was in office and all that stuff. So of course that was like a hot topic for 11 a.m. on ABC for some fucking reason. And so, I don't know how The View went from bitching about the Kardashians for 20 minutes a show and sex tapes and misogyny to all of a sudden now they're talking about crossing borders, deportation and all this shit. Like, seems a little bit out of depth. It seems a little bit like, hey, if I wanted a view, it would not be from you bitches. Jesus, Clint, stop saying bitches. But damn, these bitches are fine out here. But these were not baddies. Sorry, Joy. You put a bay in my heart. And my heart is dropping as I'm doing this. But I will give you that whoopee cushion. Because you guys certainly shit the bed on that topic. But anyways. But the reference was simply, she made like, if it's like she was on the right track of morality, but like she was morally fine, but she just, you ever met someone that just They're like, it's a definition of man, like, they really want what's good, but then they just say their reasoning is the dumbest. It's like, wait, that's your reason? It's like, I'm really against racism. It's like, oh, okay. And they're like, yeah, because, I wouldn't want, someone to think, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know a fucking thing. But yeah. Anyways, her thing was, because who's gonna clean, because who's gonna clean your dishes? Who's gonna do my laundry? Who's gonna clean my house? Who's gonna pick up my dad's opioids? It's like, oh, and in the moment they're like, oh no, honey. And first of all, I gotta say, I fucking hate it. And I don't know if it's like an old lady thing, but it's not even an old lady thing. Anytime, it's simply a slightly older woman when they like, oh no, honey. But it's one thing to say it like a girl to a girl. When a girl says it to you, when a woman says it to you in a type of like, you say something, they're like, oh no, honey, you just don't understand. Like, I fucking hate it. I gotta say, I fucking hate it when some people are like, well, if you know, I guess you don't. It's like, no, I fucking do know. If you knew, you wouldn't be saying dumb shit like, if you know, because there's no explanation in the okay? It's like, well, I guess, we're just not, oh God. And you gotta love it when people say, I guess we're just on different wavelengths. It's like, yeah, and your wavelength is distorted. There's a fucking earthquake of a wavelength. It's the seismic. It's like boom, boom, boom. It's like people who try to be like, who try to use things like that to try to be little. It's like, well, if you interpret it that way, that's a you problem. It's like, actually, no, it's not a me problem. It's literally the definition of a you problem for thinking just because you say something or just because you think you have a greater understanding of something. And first of all, the number one, this is, you people want to be behavioral experts. People want to be narcissistic experts. Just call everyone a fucking narcissist when they don't want to be with you or be around you anymore. It's like, you know what? I'm just looking for positive vibes and energy. It's like, you know what? No, you're not looking for positive vibes. You're looking for reconfirming vibes. You were looking for very specific, avoidant of actual decency vibes. I don't know. Sound very specific, but I don't know. But, no, I just hate when someone tries to, when people, oh yeah, but the number one things when you don't really have a valid reason for something is you try to put it back on someone in a generic statement that's not direct or forward. It is a middle, like, interpret it as you will, take it or leave it type of thing. I'm not explaining this right. Jesus, Clint, fuck you. But yeah. God, I just hate people that think they fucking know everything. And this is coming from someone that does a podcast that doesn't know shit, but I know some shit. But yeah, no, anyways. Yeah, no, the reference is simply, she was just saying, like, if we didn't let illegals cross the border, who's gonna do chores? It's like, I don't know, your kids, you had 3 of them, make them do something. Because like, if someone else is doing the chores for them, that's just more time for them to find their dad's drugs. And that's why Jack, he's a fucking jackass. And I'm not talking about the ones that made millions, that create entertainment by, hitting golf balls up their balls. But, talk about a not gay if it's in a 3-way. With a club in the middle and Steve-O, wild ride. It's yeah, it's called, you know what, I honestly wouldn't be surprised. It wasn't Sharon, no, it was Kelly Osbourne. Of course it was Kelly, it wasn't Sharon. Sharon actually, like, seems like someone who actually probably grew up in a reasonable situation. And look, she's probably a gold digging whore. I don't know. But hey, at least she stuck through it. At least, I don't know. Like, I don't like classified. But, you know, at least she played the part. At least she was the lead. She was the female voice of the household, right? But it was Kelly, her daughter, that said this shit. Like, oh, who's gonna clean our homes? Who's gonna clean them? It's called the grocery store. It's called the convenience store. Bleach. Like, you bleach your fucking hair. Bleach your countertops. And don't forget to counter your top. Because drop it like it's hot. Your love on top. Ooh, baby. Beyonce. Another example. She's a Sharon Osbourne for Jay-Z. Well, Jay-Z didn't really do drugs. He was a drug dealer. At least he says so. I mean, I believe it. I'm not trying to. You know how legitimate was a Gallo and the real ones out here? Like, how legitimate was Jay-Z's drug dealing? It's like, well, even if he wasn't like directly out there dealing the drugs like you see in these Vice documentaries where they're wearing the mask to cover their face. But all they do is cover their nose and their face. But you literally showed the fucking address of your apartment. They literally showed the number on the fucking door. People could figure out the environment. They already put the city you fucking live in. And you, like, I was like, oh yeah, I see this 290-pound dude with a fucking small mask over his face. And he's wearing a very specific hat with a very specific shirt that he's probably going to fucking wear again around in the public. So people are going to figure you out anyways. But I'm not here to question people's past. But yeah. Gotta love when people are out here like trying to, oh, was he really a drug dealer? Oh, was this person really this? It's like, well, it doesn't really matter now. It's like, but it may bring it may lack credibility in his music. It's like, not really, because a lot of drugs were dealt. Listen to that music anyways. It's like if a guy, like, let's say, Trey Songz. Well, actually, it's not the greatest example. He's like one of the most underrated, like, a lot of questionable things about him. But he's never actually been arrested or anything for that. You guys can look up the shit. He has a lot of accusations of sorts, media, and take that for what it's worth. But it seems like a thing in the industry where it's like, let's just say when he says, you don't think I invented sex, there's a reason. Because he's created a lot of different things during sex, apparently, that makes people feel a lot of things. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I read way too much shit. As ignorant as I sound on this pod, I do look into fucking shit. But no, Trey Songz, this man has a lot of shit to his name. And a number one album ain't one of them. Ah, Jesus. Sorry. I don't know why I'm throwing shots. I like Trey Songz. As Drake would say. As Drake once said, my mom never told me. She told me I'll never be as big as Trey Songz. Boy, was she wrong. That was just negative energy for me to feed off. And boy, does Trey Songz have a lot of negative energy towards him. But yet somehow he's still getting these ladies. I haven't really heard a recent song from him, though. I wonder if that's connected. But anyways, yeah. But let's just say, like, what if we found out, based off Trey Songz music, that, hey, actually, he's a monogamous guy. And that he's only been with less than 8 women in his life. He's a pretty consistent. He's always been mindful of women, like people's feelings and stuff. Like, what if that was the truth? It doesn't matter, because a lot of babies have been made to Trey Songz music. Let's say about Genuine. Let's say there were differences in his between his music and real life. Who cares? Because guess what? You know what's not different? All the Valentines that was made to that. All the Valentines playlist full of Genuine and Mario and Luigi. That'd be some weird anime shit. It's like some guys like the. That'd be funny as hell. Like a girl, it's like, hey, for your for Valentine's, I'm gonna make it the most special night of your life. I'm gonna treat you. Just tell me what type. Just tell me what you like. Just tell me what music you like. I'll set the mood and all this shit. And he's like, I really like Mario. And she's like, Mario? He's like, oh, okay, I got you. And then, she puts on the cassette or through the DVD or, well, I don't know what the fuck. Like the Bluetooth phone, right? Spotify, we'll just say it. And let's say it's like, it starts playing, Baby, you should let me love you. And starts playing, How could you? And just starts playing Turning Point, just starts playing a Mario playlist. How do I breathe? I don't know. When your titties are on my face, it's sweating. And then he's like, what the fuck is this? And he legitimately gets mad, like, what the fuck is this? She's like, you say you want a Mario. He's like, no, bitch. I wanted the Mario Super Smash Bros. Theme music during sex. And she'd be like, oh. And then it just becomes some weird anime shit. Like, oh yeah, anime sex. And it's like, why is Johnny Bravo's dick 12 inches? Oh, Johnny. Clap, clap. Bravo. I sent her back with a boyfriend with my handprints on her shoulders because, I comforted her. That is the most cuck thing I've ever fucking heard in my life. I sent her back to her boyfriend, my hand on her shoulders. Jesus. But yeah, I don't know. How do I breathe when I'm bombing on the pod? How do I see when your love brought me back to do the pod? Because you said no when I texted you. When do you want to do the pod? How do I breathe? It's just so different being here. Literally being all alone in my fucking bed. Thinking, goddamn. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to be too open in my life. But, I recently, as all the jokes as I make about, making, going to bars and stuff, I don't really go out to places like that. But I have been, putting my hand in the playpen a little bit. I've been going to the McDonald's slide and, letting a little poop slide. Drake shit, but I guess you have to see what's next. We'll see what's gonna happen next, okay, because I gotta see your wants and needs. All right, Jesus, can I get a lemon pepper order, please? Oh, Jesus. Sorry, I just walk it like I talk it. Look at me just giving you all this free smoke because my passion from miles away. Man, this pod went from 0 to 100 real quick, and I'm just trying to catch up. It is 5 a.m., and I'm not in Toronto. Oh, Jesus. Oh, it just won't stop. Oh, shit don't ever stop. Hey, I'm a bar spitter. I guess I'm really elevating this one. Oh, my God. I'm basically emotionless at this point. If I had mob ties, I would be dead right now. If you ride or die, you should have been dead right now. Jesus. I got a idea for you to pipe down. But yeah, All right, back to the pod. Even though this does feel like it's champagne poetry, because this pod is the effortless flows that's controlling me, and that's the only thing that's keeping this pod going. But yeah. What was I gonna say? Shit. See, I veered myself off track. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't know. Oh yeah, no, I've been, dabbling, nothing crazy. I mean, like, literally, I signed up for an app. I'll just say it. I signed up for Bumble. I guess you could say this is a Bumble Bee production, and I'm just waiting to transform her or control her. Jesus. I just want one dance. Okay. All right. Sorry. I'm going to stop before the hype gets up. Okay. But yeah, no. Anyways. Yeah, no, I signed up for the app Bumble a couple days ago, and nothing crazy. I had not a single message back because I don't have a good photo. I just used some fucking old photo. I might take one. And honestly, I kind of have a theory of when you use these free apps. I feel like when you don't pay for it, nowadays, they basically hide you from anyone fucking seeing you. You basically have to pay for people to actually see you. And I just don't want to pay $13 to, talk to someone about their hobbies. I don't feel like that should cost $13. And people are like, oh, well, prices are conversations are priceless. You won't even think about it. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like texting someone while, she's getting the honey sucked out of her bee. Oh, Honey Nut Cheerios. Kevin Garnett, the Carmelo reference. Look it up, kids. Look it up. Back when rivalries were actually a thing. And, la la, Anthony. Oh, la la, Anthony. And KG was putting in the work. Oh, my God, Clint, I gotta stop this. Okay. But yeah. So, I've signed up for this app shamelessly. And I told myself I would never sign up for the app again. Because, for apps ever again. Because I haven't been on one few. But I was like, you know what? Not even for anything like that. I just want to meet, some people. In this case, ladies. Because, I will say, I do miss a female connection. And I'm not ashamed to say, like, I do think there's something. I think regardless of what men say, we do need a female to actually just like talk to. Not necessarily about feelings and shit like, but just like it's different talking to your guy friends all the time and just having a girl to, have a different type of insight about things or just to talk to differently, a little flirty. Like I could gay flirt with my friends, right? And it's all joking, but then it's like, oh man. It's kind of sad because I could be saying the same shit to a girl and something may come out of it. You want extra butter, don't you? Because all my flows and they all like butter. Ooh. And I am not taking you to South Beach at all because, Jesus, you're not getting fresh and fit here because I'm fit now. And I give fresh as I'm is and I will bow. Wow. Yeah. But yeah, I signed up for the app Bumble. I don't know if it's actually worth the shit. I know a few people that use it, but apparently there's this weird thing where if you sign up for it, or if you're on it, you match with the ladies or whatever, but you as a guy cannot message them first. They have to message you. If you match, I don't even know if it tells you that you match, because I haven't gone that far yet. But if you match, you cannot message them until they message you. So it's a very woman-friendly app. I'm not getting, it's like, okay, cool. Besides, like, it's like, hey, you know what? At least, I kind of look at least for me, like, it's like, hey, they know the deal. Once they open the portal, I'm giving them something. Once they open the portal, it's like, once you open it, there ain't no closing it, bitch. There I go again. But anyways, And I'm very, I'm intrigued by it. I'm not looking for anything like that. Not even anything hookup or nothing. Like, I just honestly, I say that, which means I'm going to find my wife. And then I'm going to marry her in like 4 months. I'm going to take her on a trip. And then she's going to meet a NFL player. And that's that. And she made me Trey Songz. And I might be like, hey, you know what? You're going to have to get Natalie Holloway out here. I have nothing to do with this. May have to Brian Laundrie you and kill myself after. Randomly. That's still a weird story. Like, that deserves a really deep dive of, like, actual, they talk about Epstein conspiracy. I do think there's a conspiracy with the Brian Laundrie and the dude who killed his girlfriend, disappeared in Wyoming and all those mountains, all that shit. But neither here nor there. So, I'm intrigued. Like, I haven't been on a date in over a couple years. I haven't been with a lady in a capacity in the same amount of time. But I just feel like it's time to, I've been open in the past like 5 or 6 months, but I was like, what, I'm going to figure some stuff out. Haven't figured this stuff out? No. But I do feel like sometimes you just need to push yourself out there, kid, and stop hitting off the T-ball. It's time to face the guy who throws 68 miles per hour, and it feels like it's like 105. Like the dude who broke the NCAA record for throwing a 105 mile per hour fastball. Jesus fucking Christ. Kids these days. It's the steroids and the chicken. It's just chicken, broccoli, rice, I promise. But I don't know. I think I don't want to talk about like myself like that, but again, it's my fucking podcast. Why do I always say that? Anyways, it's interesting because I'm starting to feel more of myself again. Like I feel pretty confident. I feel like I'm me, and I do feel like you know what? Fuck it, maybe. But no, I do think it's important to just start like put myself out there to socialize. I'm not a very social person. And I feel like this is a way to kind of get over that hump. And maybe a little dry hump. Bad teacher style. And JT, will you dry hump me? And Cameron Diaz, I don't think has done a movie since. I guess that dry humping scene really was the camel that broke the hump's back. And I don't think she just wanted to do acting anymore. But no problem with that. But I wonder what it'll be. I wonder if it's going to be... Because typically these online dates, they go one of two ways. The first time you meet, they're either like so fucking great when you meet, or they're on their fucking phone the second you meet them. There's no in between. There's no like, hey, we had some but there's a little nervousness. There's no like, there was some cool moments, but there was some awkward. Like, it's either really fucking like, holy fuck. Because it really is how open the other person is to actually saying. And when you first meet someone, there's this like, ooh. There's this like, I don't know what's going to happen. So you have to be full attention to notice every little thing. The urgencies, the spontaneity aspects. And it's almost like sometimes comfort, my view on a lot, it seems like comfort kind of takes the enjoyment out of things. As weird as that fucking sounds. Because you would think the more comfortable you are with someone, the more of yourself you're willing to be. But actually, I think nowadays, it's more like when you first meet someone, you're actually more comfortable because off a rip, people are always going to be a little bit more open-minded than when you're around someone like, Jesus fucking Christ, shut the fuck up type of shit. And that's me. And that's why they always end. I do, and it's this weird thing where I'm intrigued by whenever I meet a first lady on here. And, who knows? I have no expectations. But, I think it kind of opens up the portal of what is that I think it's okay for guys to be like at their certain point, like, you know what? I want to And I think that's why, like, a lot of people marry even when it doesn't make sense. I'm not going to go on about marriage and shit and stuff like that, because I feel like that's a way too open. That's a way too open, marriage sucks type of shit. And I don't think it really does. I just think it really depends on who you marry. Like anything in life. The other constant variable in the thing is probably what's going to be the main feeling of whatever you potentially have. Crazy thought. But some people just want to be married, just get married. Because they want everything else, and then they forget, like, wait, who did I marry? Jesus, my step cousin. Sweet home, Kansas. Let me take a sip of my Skittles. But look, I'll admit it. I'll be a fucking bitch. I miss conversating in that capacity with a girl. There's nothing wrong with saying that. It doesn't necessarily mean you desperately seek it, but I do feel like it can be like a missing thing in your life. And I do feel like sometimes people get married just for the simple fact of there's nothing wrong with being like, I want the opposite sex, or, you know, I'm speaking traditional here. Sorry. I want someone to speak with and conversate with on the simplest of levels. Even if that's all you end up marrying someone for, and over the long haul, that's the main reason. That's better than a lot of people's reasons. But I do think just in casually seeing someone talking, I do think there's a lot of value in discussing things with someone, talking to stuff about, because when you're a very isolated person, you're very to yourself, like everything you think about is to you. So everything is through you. That's why when you hear me speak on this, it's me debating myself, trying to counteract and rationalize with myself and shit on myself for my shitty views. But it'd be a lot easier if I just had someone else here to tell me about my shitty views. And whether it's a friend, a potential girlfriend, or a potential boyfriend, whatever, who's ever listening, it's important to just have someone in your life that naturally from, you know, internally, whether biologically, but, you know, just from a personality to a minimum, we have different ways of looking at things. That's why I think, I don't think the way men and women view things nowadays, it's just posterized at a crazy level that it makes it seem like women are more delusional than ever and men are more into this than ever, when in reality, it's probably always been like that. It's just more published now. Like, a guy and a girl can have a complete different view of watching the same thing. And sometimes as a guy, like, it could be very hard and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? How could you not see this? How could you not see this as just like, hey, this is just wrong? And like, well, you know, we don't know what they were going through. We're not in their lives. It's like, but he beat the fuck out of her. It's like, well, you know, I don't know. But it's important to have someone like to challenge you. And to me, you know, and I get it, can wear on people, but I want someone to like challenge my nonsense. Because I need it. Like, because I don't like to sit with my baseless, to sit with my stubborn thoughts. Like, I need someone to take 10% of my stubbornness out of me. Like, I just need someone to like listen. I just need you to listen to me, bitch. I'm kidding. I would not call someone I love bitch. So that's why you're my girlfriend. No. But no, like I do feel like it's interesting. You know, it's something that makes you think when you start putting yourself. And you're hesitant because you're like, am I really ready for something like that? If someone were to be more than just like hey, we hung out once or twice at the Battery, and then I committed battery on that face of hers. And it wasn't domestic because we didn't order domestic beer. International, baby. Amstel Light. Does domestic violence travel with you? Does your record travel with you? Like if you moved to like fucking Germany and you become a legal citizen, does like your record go with you? Like if you try to find a job there, does your record go with you? Is that only in America? I don't know. This is America. When you start, I guess, getting back to the subject for the 8th time in a 6-minute span, when you think about putting yourself back out there again, I think I'm a lot more desensitized to a lot of things, so a lot of things aren't really gonna bother me or get to me anyways, almost to a fault. But it does make it like, is it even worthwhile? Am I really just seeking just that? Like, just someone to have in my life to kind of get through a social experiment? As bad as that sounds, but not that someone's a social experiment, but really it's just like, am I just using someone for a social void right now? And I don't know. But all I'm doing right now is a massive projection. You know, realistically, like, I think I'm a good guy. I'm a decent guy. And any time a guy says they're a good guy, I just roll my eyes. But I'm a good guy. No, that's it. I'm a decent dude. Like, the thing is though, I do work. Like, I got my own hobby. I got my own interests. I got my own passions. And that with my job, it takes almost all of it, all my time. I don't want, like, am I just wasting someone's time if something happens, right? And I don't know. I don't want to bumble onto something like a baby in them. That may or may not be me. But no, you know, it's I don't know. I want to those honey lips, those honey pea lips. Oh honey, that raw honey. But yeah, which by the way, like honey at the fucking stores, like if you buy like pure fucking honey, even at like Publix or Kroger, you buy those natural, 100% organic, paraben free, whatever the fuck paraben. How is it paraben free and deodorant and honey? I don't feel like those are two things that should have the same characteristic as an advertisement as like, hey, it's paraben free. It's like, wait, why are there parabens in honey at all or deodorant? I don't even know what paraben is. And like a fucking 20-ounce thing of honey, pure honey, be like $42. It's like this weird price. Like you'd be like, okay, soy sauce. Okay, you got flour, and then you got this, and then you hit the honey, and then it'll be like hot cocoa, $3 for a box. It'll be like marshmallows, and then you hit the honey, and it'll be like $8, 12, 43. It's just like this huge spike. But yeah, maybe the first date, I'll, maybe try something different. Like first date, take a girl something. Like I'll take her to the grocery store and just go around. And the first thing I'll do is take her to honey. And then I'll just have podcast debates with the girl on the first date. Take her to the honey section and be like, so what do you think? What do you think of these prices? And I'm pretty sure their perspective will be like, well, maybe it's really good honey. And I don't know, and I'll probably say something like, I don't know about you, there's no honey I've ever had that is worth 43 fucking dollars. Honey's honey. You're not going to sit there and pour honey straight into your fucking mouth. You're going to put it in tea. You're going to put it in some fucking water when your nose gets congested. You're going to put it in some neti pot to put it through your fucking nose. Oh, honey bear. Oh, honey bear. Like, you're not just sitting there like, it's not like I put Polynesian sauce on my meals every fucking night or yum yum sauce. It's not like something you just pour over at fucking anything. It's not an all-purpose sauce. It is very particular. And they'll be like, Jesus fucking Christ, it's not that serious. And I'll be like, it is serious. Because how you look at this, what if I send you my credit card 8 years from now? And yeah, go to the store, get whatever. And you buy $800 worth of food, right? Because, I got it like that. And then I look through the fucking receipt. And I'm like, you spent 43 fucking bucks on honey? I'm preventing a situation before it happens. I'm just thinking about our future, baby. And, got a girl from the south side. Got hips like honey. So thick and so sweet. And that fucking price is fucking thick. But not so sweet. But yeah, no, Bumble. Yeah. I don't know. I'm interested. And hopefully they are too. I'm more intrigued. Like, I don't know what to, I wonder if this is what most people think when they put themselves, because I went through a period of life where I would say more of a serial dater. I was not one of the, I don't like being with multiple girls at a time. Jesus, this fucking cuck, this fucking pussy. But no, like, I'm not someone, I don't really like doing that shit for a lot of different reasons. But honestly, it's just too much fucking work more than anything. If it wasn't too much work, I probably would do it. But it's too much. Like, Jesus, I'm already lying to the girl I love. I don't want to lie to everyone. I got to have some conscience here. Got to have some moral high ground. Only lie to one bitch at a time. Lady, sorry. I'm really trying to get rid of the word. Especially when they're not. But it's, yeah. Man, lying, man. It's a lot of work, man. And look, I don't care what people, we've all lied about shit. Some more serious, some less serious. But like, even stuff that doesn't matter, like, you just like, yeah, all right. I just don't want to go into details about, have you ever, I remember one time, I'm not going to say who, but a girl I was with at the time, and, she asked me, would you ever leave me if I got fat? And in my head, I'm like, not really. Like, there was no reason for this situation brought up. Like, she wasn't really overweight or nothing. She was beautiful. She was beautiful to me, baby. You're so beautiful. I just want you to know. You can have my cravings box. Even the cinnamon twist, baby. If it's stale, I'll take them back and get a new batch. But, and for some reason, I was like, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. And anytime a guy says, I'm going to be honest with you, they're not. Because they would just say, like, nah, wouldn't. I'm going to be honest, because it's almost like you're being, you have to say it to remind you and yourself that I'm about to be honest, even though you're not being honest. Inside baseball there. But I was just like, honestly, I don't know. And I think like it became very self-conscious to her. And let me tell you, man, she kept fit. And I don't know why I lied. There was no reason. I could just simply said no. It wouldn't matter. But some part of me been like, you know what? Make her a little anxious. Give her a little anxiety. Make her on her toes. Make her eat right. It's like, baby, I'm trying to prevent you from being on The Biggest Loser one day. Let me get your habits under control. Because as a man, I can control you. Okay. All right, made that reference. But, this isn't a child's play. So you can bounce that shit like, whoa. And I was just looking at like, and I just lied just because. But, I'm going to try not to do that. If someone says, would you ever care if I gained weight? Or would you ever care if I lost weight? I would just be like, you know what? As long as you don't lose yourself. I fucking hate myself. All right, you know what? Fuck it. That's the end. All right, that's the Bumble Bee pod. I don't know if that's what I'm going to call this. Probably not. But yeah, your boy's on Bumble. Go swipe whichever direction. Swipe whatever direction it is to send me a message. And send it in a bottle because that's where all my feelings are. And I just shake that bottle of feelings up and I'm like, ace of spades. And I'm just throwing dice out here because as Brendan Shaw would say, like this pod, that's dicey. Jesus. All right, that's episode 142 of the Off and Beat podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow the pod, hit the notification bell. But most importantly, suck some titties on Bumble. I make 'em bumble, you make 'em move, I make her dance. All right, guys, have a great day. Have a great weekend. Because, yeah, I'm 9 to 5, and you guys are going to enjoy the weekend. Or is it more like I'm 9 to 5 for you guys to enjoy the weekend? Well, I guess I'm going to let that one be like SZA and let that cut into you. That's why the industry is cutthroat. All right, no friends in the industry. Sorry, had to do it.